people will often cite 4 versus 1 as the most difficult prospect for the potential invader in Dark Souls 3. However, short of a terrible spawn location, 4v1 is not something that should happen very often. Any 4-player world has a dried finger active. Now, in one of the more baffling decisions FromSoft made, they don't show the invader the effect of the dried finger. So you either have to see that there's 4 phantoms, or see that there's another invader in the world, or invade the same group in very fast succession in order to know that there is a dried finger active. Now, in this invasion in the archives, I started off immediately with another invader. The character's name is Johnny. The player's name, his name on YouTube is, I won't even try and, I just call him Yuko. E-U-C-O. Yuko is a very good Dark Souls 3 player. He's a very good invader, and I know he's going to be a perfect teammate. So the curved sword Crystal Moonlit Knight does some work with the Crystal Kumo and the curved Moonlight, whatever the hell that weapon's called. I don't know. It's a curved sword. It fit the aesthetic I was going for at the time. Yuko is taking care of one phantom. I've killed another. This is easy peasy lemon squeezy at this point. He goes to the crow quills. I go to the curved sword. And you will see, because we're using 2 very small weapons, we are able to, for the most part, avoid each other's hits. I did manage to clip him a couple of times there. That does negligible damage if you get hit with the sword, so no big deal. This host, I guess, is already out of Estus. I don't know. But GG. Team Moonlight wins again. And that's what you get when you have a good teammate. Team invasions are some of the hardest invasions to win with random teammates, because for the most part they just don't know how to work as a team. They still have ganker mentality, which is a problem unless you're an Aldrich Faithful or a Watchdog, Farron Watchdog. You can have ganker mentality there, but you cannot have it when you are Red. Reds just can't abide by it. You're just going to end up killing each other. So this video, I hope, will maybe make some other people understand how to better play as a teammate. Now, I don't assume there's a dried finger active in this world, because at the moment I only see 3 players. There's no other invader. Now, I really cannot wrap my head around the thought of why FromSoft decided not to show the invader if there was a dried finger active. But that's fine. Now, there's 3 of them. Only 2 are here at the moment. You can see I'm flirting with the exit in case that 3rd guy shows up. If that 3rd guy shows up, I'm going to make them play the level before a fight. Now, since it's just 2 at the moment, I'll try my odds. That guy really liked to turtle and use a spear, which is a terrible idea, because it allows me to, like, even if you're going to get clean hits on me, but I know your stamina's low, and I've already procced his tears, so now he's had to back up and cast tears a 2nd time, which is fine because he's basically blown 2 blue Estus flasks to do that. So I know he's down 2 Estus already. Now, before I use my first Estus of the match, I decide instead I'm just going to come over here and use the Sun Princess ring, and I'm going to regenerate. While I'm waiting around, another Dark Spirit invades, and it's Johnny again. Now, here's the 3rd player that we haven't met yet. This is the over-leveled Phantom doing a whatever cosplay. Yuko nails me with the crow quills right there. And before I can get the Estus on my lips, I am cut down by Light Drifter, or Hyperspace Katana Laser Anime Man. I re-invade the same world, because there's a dried finger, obviously, and the first thing I see is this gold phantom here. Go to give the point down to my boy Pincognito. So, Johnny has died, Yuko is dead, and now it's myself and Pinko. Chucking grenades, always iffy. You need to just do it free, like, just free aim. Unless you're, really close up on them. Because as you could see, my targeting grabbed Pinko. This guy's gone for parries just non-stop since we've started, invading this crew here. So we know right off the bat, that's all he's going to do. He's not good for anything else except a few lucky Cestus parries. So he switched to the katana. He's at half health already. We'll repay him the point down. And you'll notice Pinko and myself basically just completely ignored each other that entire invasion. That's how teamwork invasions work. That's what they should be. You should never even, split up as best you can the whole time. If you don't focus on the same person, you'll be much better off for it. If you don't have to, you shouldn't target the same person. Now, what happens if you have to target the same person because they're the only person left to fight? We'll go over that in this invasion. So, I'm trying to invade Pincognito and Edvard the Crag, but a group of reverse stream snipers has taken up shop and started a little gank squad. Now, they've already killed me once. So, the other player you saw there, the other red at the beginning, was Dangit JM. And I know he's also a very good invader, so I've got nothing to worry about with that sorcerer casting those weak-ass Farron darts at me. Now, JM has already taken care of the other Phantom. Or the Phantom, I should say. Now again, I switched to the curved sword. That way, if we do hit each other, we're not hitting each other with our most powerful weapons. And these fast weapons are better for roll catching. Took some very real damage there from that weapon art. Got me with the thrust damage. Now I'm expecting a parry attempt, but I think as long as I've got this crystal mail breaker, this host is probably going to be smart enough not to parry. And then she proves me wrong. But again, you see that myself and Dangit JM, we're focusing on two different targets. When our paths intersect, we make sure that they immediately unintersect. Now, I've got the 2v1 for a moment. JM comes over to give me just a little bit of respite. I hear the parry go off. I assume it's him parrying. I go ahead and use a Siegbrow because I am dug in. I am in this. After the death scream, I turn around to make sure it wasn't my partner that died. See that JM's still alive. That's going to give me an Estus back. And now we're back to a 2v2. Now, while JM is able to whip both their asses, I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to try and mess up what he's got going on. As soon as I see this Phantom on his own and unable to interact with JM, I can turn my attention to him. Then it goes back to the invader gank. and we stay out of each other's way, and we finish off the host. But that's the way you do it. Don't get in each other's way. I don't know how many times I've said that in how many different videos. But invader versus invader, do not get in each other's way. Now right off the bat, I spawn in, I look and immediately see a guy, scares the shit out of me. Hit him with an R1, didn't mean to. Try and give him some L1s like, hey, my bad. He's apparently not having it. Now, he knows I'm an invader because I spawned literally right next to him. I'm not taking this guy seriously because he's using the Irithyll Straight Sword, which is a mistake I make a lot. But at this point, I realize, okay, he's got the Hornet Ring, the Irithyll Straight Sword, Onion Armor. He's a very generic, very good twink build. He's got the Hornet Ring, Irithyll Straight Sword, Frostbite is serious at low levels. A Deep or Dark Cestus is very good at low levels. He's using some sort of dagger for his riposts. I know he's someone who at least knows his stuff. I keep expecting parries with the Cestus, and he's not throwing them out until the second R1. So basically, I've cost myself here by not taking this guy seriously. He's playing such a generic build that I just basically didn't believe in him. But he's a player who knows the mechanics, and knowing the mechanics in Dark Souls is basically half the battle. Now these like very generic builds that you see a lot of times those are the ones that I just won't take seriously when I see them, because most of the players that I run around with know enough that playing the very generic sorts of builds just isn't entertaining to them. So they basically will try and spice up their characters with, you know, give like weird weapons or you know, just doing anything they can really to challenge themselves, like different play styles and stuff. So as a result, for the most part, unless I recognize a player's name as someone I know and know that they're good, or you know, I see like some wonky fucking build using some weird random stuff, I make the mistake of not taking my opponent seriously. Obviously this opponent is one that deserves to be taken seriously, but he's an awful teammate. We're like, what, 2 minutes into the fight, and I mean, you can tell this dude is just he doesn't care about killing the host or the phantom or whatever. I hit him once, and his immediate response was to proc me with Frostbite. So, like, he knows I'm an invader. He's basically not going to like we're in this now. Like, me and him have to like have a fight to the death. So, like, that was more important to him than killing the host. You can see I'm playing more seriously now. Now that I know he's good, I do not want to lose to this guy with like this cookie cutter build. I would like to be able to say like, oh, okay, my vampire hunter can even beat twinks, vampire twinks, you know, who are sucking the fun out of the game by using these cookie cutter builds. Now he got me completely out of Estus, and I was like, be damned if I lose like this. So I ran off and I found the Phantoms. Now I've already killed this group once. It's two fun vampires and their host, but they're doing like a themed run through where one is like BDSM vampire and or BDSM samurai, that was his name. So I killed that Phantom. I come over here to see, I break that to see which direction the host is in. It tells me where the host is at, but it means I have to engage this onion guy again. Now I've only got one Estus, so I'm going to try, and if I kill him, I get one Estus. I believe it's one. I know it's not 0. I know I can beat him with the crow quills. I just need space to buff them. Now, I'm not going to go for poison because he's wearing that heavy armor, and heavy armor typically has very good poison resistance. He's not a strength build, so poison would do okay. But I'm going to go with bleed because I don't know bleed as intimately as I do poison, so I don't know how much heavy armor affects bleed proc. Now here, I see he's trying to Barker bomb bait me. So I'm going to try and condition him into believing that that works. So I'm going to roll out of range, and then I'm going to give him an R1, like I fell for the bomb bait. And now what I'm hoping this does is allows me to backstab him on his next Barker bomb bait. But like I said, he's a good player, so he understands the mechanics. So instead of going for the bomb bait, instead he just R1 spammed me when I came in from that bomb bait. So I go bleed here. I know he's out of Estus because we've basically had a fucking war with each other. Right here, he decides it's worth blowing a Divine Blessing. I say worth it, but everybody fucking save scums him now, so I mean, it doesn't really matter. A lot of times people will ask me in comments, they're like, hey, why didn't you use the Divine Blessing? Why didn't you use that Sigbrow? I typically will only use those against people that like I absolutely must kill. Everybody else kind of gets a pass. Like, winning is not that important. What's great is I know there's a dried finger active. I fucked up there and I rolled into that ball thinking I would be behind it already, but that wasn't the case. What's great, though, is I know I'm going to get right back into this world. Like I said, I've already beat these guys once. I know they're running with the dried finger active. So I invade them again, and right off the bat, the cookie cutter onion decides to black crystal out. So no more onion guy. In my opinion, honestly, I think the hardest thing an invader can face is either a 3v1 because there's no chance for backup, or an invasion with red sign soapstone teammates. Now I hear right there, I can hear the white birch branches going off. So I know they're around here, and you know they're not going to be too far from each other. This guy using the meme doors, and then here comes the mushroom head guy, Xanthus crown. My least favorite part about the doors is the fact that Jim Morrison died. No, it's actually that if you use the guard break weapon art, you don't get any sort of tell. Like, they don't even budge. Like, right there, you could kind of see them budge a little bit. But if they're in the middle of an attack animation, you won't even see the doors budge, which is, like, such a pain in the ass. It's not like Valorheart, where you can just go for a guard break, and you got a 50-50 shot of, you know, them having block frames active. There's all these tells with Valorheart. The shield is always in front when it's supposed to be. Not the case with the big stupid door shields. So I decided to go with the whip. This is again the spotted whip, which has innate poison, and I've gone ahead and used the rotten resin right there. Playing locked on and using locked on rolls was just getting me my ass rolled in a circle right into those doors over and over and over again, which was so fucking stupid. Right there, I let myself get hit by the projectile trap arrows. Also not very clever of me. Now, this skelly man comes in and decides he's going to help out. 3v1, like I said, in my opinion, that's the most common difficulty. That's the most common max difficulty that an invader will come across. Fortunately for me, The host just hides. So this is honestly just a 2v1, which is no big deal at all. When you see the host, you'll understand why they're hidden. But this is manageable. Now, of course, they're over leveled. You just heard a heal spell go off, which makes this considerably more difficult because they have just all these ways to heal themselves. But I've got this skelly dude in. He's throwing his grenades. If I can lure them just a little further in, they'll have to contend with the Karthus warrior, the Karthus curved greatsword warrior, and he reanimates himself. So he's a very, very useful enemy. But you never want to make it clear to your opponent that that's what you're trying to do. You never want to make it clear to your opponent that you're just trying to drag them into the enemies. You want to make it seem like it's a natural sort of progression that happens. A lot of invaders I watch who are trying to be better invaders will a lot of times just run straight into a 2v1 or a 3v1, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, so long as you know you've guaranteed yourself a way out and that you can take advantage of the enemies when necessary. Right here, I got really low on health. These guys got thirsty. They saw me low on health and they thought, this is it, this is where we win. But they were wrong. This is where I draw you into the enemies. I make it seem like I'm retreating to heal, which I am, but more importantly, I'm also retreating into the enemies to get you killed. I talked about this in a video one time, and I Am Amish left a comment on the video that said something about, I believe it was a Sun Tzu quote, a for real serious Sun Tzu quote, not one of my bullshit philosopher quotes, that said, appear weak when you are strong and appear strong when you are weak. And that's essentially what you do. I had plenty of Estus. I just backed up. I let them think they had me cornered. All they're really doing is dragging themselves into the Karthus curved greatsword skeleton. And now this host is off. Now, as he begins running, I'm thinking, I found those guys in the room full of vases. I have not seen their host yet. Two things are likely. Either the host is at the very first start of the level, which is where I found them and killed them the first time, or the host is hidden somewhere where they were all hiding. Because keep in mind, I've killed this player once during the Red Onion invasion. And right here, when these skeletons stand up, I realize the host is in the room with the vases, because they've not come this way on this playthrough. So that means the host is going to be back here. And here she is, their goddess. I'm done. Thanks for watching. Be a good teammate. Later, y'all.